What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're going to be taking a look at the 2005 remake House of Wax. This movie is based off the Vincent Price classic of 1953. Alright, so my general thoughts on this remake is that it's okay. Unlike the original movie that has a very atmospheric, suspense-ridden atmosphere, this movie is a paint-by-numbers slash flick. Does that make it a bad movie? No. Does it make it good? No. Does it make it enjoyable? I say yes for the most part. Now, unlike the original movie, which has this very simple yet intriguing revenge plot, this movie's plot is nothing like that. It's basically these six friends are going to a football game, they get lost on the road, and they're getting picked up one by these two homicidal brothers that live in a backwoods town in which they killed every single resident of said town and turned the whole town into a living, breathing wax museum in a way. So, and their motivations for doing these things was that their mother, whose name was Shruti, was a famous wax sculptor, and she died of brain cancer or something like that. And the brothers pretty much took up her mantle of creating wax figures, and they took it one step further by pretty much killing everyone in their town and turning them into wax figures. So the motivation for the two brothers is whatever, but I give Brian Van Holt credit. He plays two roles in this movie. He plays the character named Bo and a character named Vincent of the Homicidal Brothers, and he's good at playing crazy. And I think he was actually very over the top and very entertaining as the two Siamese brothers. So I think Brian Van Holt did an okay job of playing the villain. Now the other members of the cast, I think they're okay as well. The only two standouts are Elijah Cuthbert and Chad Michael Murray. That's not really saying much in the long run too. I mean, they play a brother and sister act, and they go against the brother act, but there's no really. I don't really get a sense of urgency of a rivalry between these two. I mean, the movie tries to make you think that there's similarities between the two, yet I don't see it. I don't see it. I know that, the whole hook with the characters of Carly and Nick is that one's the good twin and one's the bad twin, and I guess you can say the same thing with Bo and Vincent, because we get a prologue of these two, of one of them acting like a good brother, the other one acting like a little monster. The movie tries to parallel that, but it doesn't really do anything with it, in my opinion, which is kind of a letdown, because it would have given this movie a little bit of juice. But for what it is, it's whatever. But everyone else in the cast, they're kind of forgettable. They're just stock teenagers getting picked off one by one. Of all of them, the only one that really stands out is Jared Padalecki, mainly because it's Jared Padalecki, and he's just a recognizable name now because of Supernatural. And he plays the boyfriend Wade of the Carly character. And and the only reason why I say Padalecki is the most memorable character, most memorable side character in this movie, was because his death is the only one that really sticks out, in which he literally gets turned into a wax figure, which is actually pretty cool and pretty gruesome to look at. So, I like that stuff. Speaking of the kills, let's talk about the kills. The kills in this movie, some of them are cool, and some of them are just stock. The two cool ones that stand out to me is when Paris Hilton gets like a pole shoved through the top of her head, which is a great scene because her acting was horrid and her character needed to get killed off quick. I mean, I understand why they cast her in this movie. She was very popular at the time, so it was a stunt cast, but she can't act to save her life. And as I mentioned before, the Jared Padalecki death. So those are really the two most memorable kills in this movie. All the other kills, they're kind of just stock. They're kind of just generic. Nothing bad, but nothing that you haven't seen in like a Jason and like in a Friday the 13th film. Just regular stabs. Another thing that I enjoy about this movie is I like the overall production design of this movie. Now, I said this movie doesn't have a suspense-ridden atmosphere, but it does have a creepiness to it. And when they get to the backwoods town, I think the director tries to give it a creepy atmospheric vibe, but I just don't think he knows how to do it. But I do like the overall look of this abandoned town, though. It looks very isolated, looks very creepy. I like the look of the wax museum itself, and I like how it's actually made of wax, how the entire building is made of wax. I like how he made that stands out to itself. So I think that stuff is pretty good too. And that's pretty much all I got to say about this movie. Again, this is not the most memorable movie. to be made. But it's a decent little movie. And of course, The House of Wax was more than just a paint by number slasher flick. The original House of Wax was a mystery thriller type of movie. This movie is a paint by numbers slasher flick. It's not a whodunit. It's not like going on investigation who's doing the killings in this movie. It's a paint by numbers slasher flick. These two guys, a group of teens being picked off one by crazy backwood hicks. So yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre minus the chainsaws. But yeah, does that make this movie bad? No, it doesn't. Does it make it generic in the pantheon of slasher flicks? Yes, it does. Especially when there are better slasher flicks in the genre that outdo this movie. But that doesn't make this movie bad at all. It's a guilty pleasure. It's enjoyable. When you watch it, you'll get excitement out of it. Which is why I'm going to give The House of Wax a solid 6.5 out of 10. I don't hate this movie. I actually kind of like it. I think it's very decent. It's solidly made. For the most part, the cast is okay. And when you watch it, you ain't going to be bored. You're going to be entertained by it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on The House of Wax 2005, 6.5 out of 10. So let me know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I would like to know. Also, check out my review of the original House of Wax. I'll put the link in both the description box and in the comment sections down below. But like this video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.